everybody. Excited to be talking today. We're going to be talking all things hiring, AI, what's going on in that side of the world. To do that, we brought on Mark Hoge. He's currently the CEO at a company called Digital Hire. Mark, thanks for joining. How the heck are you?
Great, man. Thanks for having me. Good to see you, Gabe.
Yeah, man. Well, this is a cool topic. Excited to kind of get in. By the way, you got a killer picture on LinkedIn here, man. This is a good one. I'm right up here. You got like the 3-button suit
out of date,
on.
actually. I think it's like 6 years or something. So I probably should update that.
Yeah, you're looking a little older, but I love the 3-piece suit, man. It's cool. Cool, man. Well, I'd start with let's start with the big picture, Digital Hire. Like, tell me what's going on over there. Tell us a little bit about yourself. Give us that overview.
Sure. Yeah. So Digital Hire, we're trying to solve the problem with video in the beginning. So like, if you think of companies that are doing interviews constantly all the time, that was literally me. I was doing interviews all day long. Our managers on our team were doing interviews all day long because we had to scale our headcount.
Yeah.
And as you can imagine, that the challenge of just doing that, and it was a lose-lose kind of like, unless it was the right candidate. Anyone that's done any hiring will know, like, you end up doing lots of interviews with the wrong candidate, right, before you get to the right one. And so
it takes a while.
We really, really focused on how do we solve that problem where we can have a great experience for the candidate, where they can come in, learn about our company, learn about our culture, and we can learn about them without wasting each other's time if it's not a good fit. And so we really set out to start Digital Hire as a video first platform where candidate could go through an interview on a video platform. We could review those interviews on our platform and then engage if it's a good fit for each party.
Cool.
And it's evolved since then, obviously. Full AI now. We got, that's all I talk about now is AI and recruiting. And so, but the concept's kind of the same. Like, if you think about it, we're trying to get more efficient. We're trying to get better at getting a candidate experience to where they get hired. And on the employer side, we're trying to be more effective with like our time and our energy and putting it in the right places, right? And AI is supercharged that. So it's always been at our ethos, and now it's kind of expanded since we've grown.
Fascinating, man. Fascinating. Well, cool business. And it sounds like the evolution's been pretty fun. So want to see if I can pick your brain a little bit on the current state of hiring. I had somebody ping me before this webinar. They actually do car washes and they're hiring a bunch of younger people. And the big challenge they kind of said, is you just kind of indicated, like, turnover's high, and they're trying to get these people in, these younger people. They come, they go, they have to interview 30, 40 people for one hire. Whew, it gets kind of messy at times. So I'm curious, maybe you start big picture, but what are some of the challenges you're seeing as people hire, and how is AI starting to kind of supplant some of that?
Yeah. Well, I would start with saying hiring in general is kind of a challenging thing, right? Like, if you're really looking to find someone that not only can do the job that you need them to do, but also like fit your culture, fit your background, fit your family kind of feel within your environment. It's just a super challenging task. And what I'm hearing in today's environment is kind of the same thing I've heard 10 years ago. We're like, hey, we're getting either inundated with candidates. They're the wrong candidates. They're not the right thing. The communication between the resume, the job board to the candidate isn't what they're looking for, right? It's always like, this is not what we're looking for. How do we find it? And, that hasn't changed all that much. In fact, Gabe, I would say it's actually got a little worse, in my opinion, because a lot of these AI tools that the job boards use, at least, what they're doing is they're searching for keywords. It's really hard to find a cultural fit through a keyword, right? That's just not really what is. And that's how it was before too. You would search on a job board, find me a person to do X, Y, Z. And it's this Boolean search for a bunch of different resumes. And then you're going through those and then you're thinking that's right. Well, now that can happen faster, but you're still looking after a keyword to match a person for an opportunity. So the way it's evolving is really exciting, though, where we're going with it. Because I really think that fundamental challenge or the problem is about to get corrected. And it's already getting corrected in certain cases that we've seen very quickly. And AI is actually supercharging people to become hired quicker and in a better fit, in a better work environment. It really is a win-win when you have the right hire for the individual and for the company, right? Everyone wins. So And I can get into that if you want me
Yeah,
to.
yeah. Look, I think that's a great. So you kind of hit both sides of the house, right? It's like not only for candidates, but also for recruiters. There's kind of the aspect on that side of the house. Man, I want to decide which one I want to go into first. Then double click on that. How is it you set up the problem well? How are people then using AI to hire right now?
Yeah. So I would say most companies are using it within what they call an ATS system.
Mm-hmm.
It's called an applicant tracking system. And recruiters will just have all of the resumes dumped into the system essentially, right? And then from there, they're like searching, like, all right, I need someone with engineer, 5 years experience, XYZ certifications, kick out top 50.
Yep.
Well, this is what I'm hearing from the employers. Believe it or not, everyone uses AI to write a resume now. Shocker, right? It's just like ChatGPT, write me a resume, boom, it's done.
Totally.
Well, the challenge on the employer side is they're getting those keywords aren't really working because everyone's using the same thing to write the resume. So now they're inundated with, what used to take a search down to 50 is now thousands, and now they're having to get a little bit more refined. And every time they do that, they might be missing out on the right candidate because it's a cultural or, the one word's not matching up correctly.
Yeah.
So we have found, and this is what's really exciting with the AI, is for the employer side I'm talking about now, is we can use it to engage and have conversations with candidates in a way that's scalable, meaning like 50, hundreds, thousands of simultaneously conversations happening with AI, right?
Yep.
And with Signal AI is helping with that process. Now we can have multiple conversations at scale we just couldn't do before. And that's allowing candidates to say really what they want and what the real match is. Now we're filtering that down even further. And then at Digital Hire, we're a big believer in video, where you can go through a video assessment after that, video interview is what we call it, or a video resume even, where it's 90 seconds. Tell us about yourself, tell us your background, tell us what work environment you want to be a part of. And I'm telling you, Gabe, it's impressive because the candidate's pretty low lift.
Yeah.
Really high lift, but we're using AI to do it on the employer side.
Yeah.
And now we're getting really qualified, really enriched data that we could share with these employers of like, here's like the exact thing you're kind of looking for with the video to back it up.
Cool. That's so cool, man. That's so cool.
The whole thing.
Do you feel like, are candidates okay interacting with AI? That's always a concern. It's like, hey, and does that work? Like, walk us through kind of how that happens. Like, they're okay with it and they're giving, it sounds like a decent amount of information, enough that you can, after the interview, pass it over to the organization and they can kind of actually make more informed decisions than they had in previous, interactions.
100%. So yes, I think when a candidate is wanting to get hired, like when you're in that situation where you're like, I'm really looking for an opportunity, they are a lot more likely to want an AI to help do the work for them, at least that we've ran into. So like, now, if I'm not really looking for a job, I'm not really interested. Same thing if a human called me, I'm not interested, I don't want to take the time. But if an AI calls and can help me get a job and get me even a better salary or a better match, now I'm engaging with that AI in a way like I'm really excited to do, just like you do with ChatGPT or the other LLMs. It's like, now I can actually tell, like, hey, find me a job, help me do this.
Yes.
And so I think the engagement's great. I do think there's still adoption that's happening though. And we're seeing it increase over and over. Like every week goes by, it's like more and more adoption.
Yeah.
And I would say, generally speaking, candidates that are eager to work and eager to get hired, they enjoy it. They enjoy the help. They enjoy interacting with it. I think we only call people that are actively looking. So we've had a positive experience, but if someone's not really looking, it's like a headhunting, because that's what happens a lot in the headhunting space.
It's a little funky. Okay.
It can be a little funky. Yeah, I think they can be.
And what do you see as the best use case then? Obviously, there's limitations to everything, but when these AI agents are interacting with candidates, is it the basic qualification? Is it answering questions? What kind of is it actually accomplishing in those instances? It sounds like it's doing more or less an interview.
Correct. Yeah, exactly right. So there's always, we call them boxes that needed to be that need to be checked for an employer. So like, what boxes do you have to have checked
Cool.
from the person before anything else matters, right? So that might be like, are you willing to work full time? Are you willing to work these hours? Are you willing to work on this pay? Are you this certification? Is that something you have or don't have? Are you willing to take a drug test? Do you have, background check? All these things are just boxes they have to check in order to move forward. And so that's where the AI is really effective, because no one really minds answering those questions and they can do it fairly quick. But the way we've taken it at Digital Hire is like, we want the candidate to go through this kind of one time, and then we want to supercharge them with AI to help them get employed anywhere. So if you go to Digital Hire and do a video resume, that's exactly what will happen. Like, we'll take that information one time that you did and then help market you.
Cool. Super cool.
Because the other challenge on the candidate side, Gabe, is they imagine having to do like everyone's the horror story, like you're sending 500 resumes or you're getting 500 applicants sending out there, and you're just trying to search and search and search. Imagine doing it really well the one time with the AI and the video, and then let that go work for you 24/7 to try to get you the right match. So
interesting, dude. That's super fascinating. Where, so you mentioned some of the benefits, but I'm just, for people who are trying to think, it's time saving. You're not using as many recruiting out. Walk us through some of these types of things that you've experienced or other people could expect as they kind of find this right place to use AI in their hiring process.
Yeah, I think the first thing is to do what we call like a quick assessment or audit of your current process, because everyone has like their own process, and we will never know what you want to hire better than yourself. And so we want to start there. What are you doing now? What's really working? Where are the pain points? And then how can we use AI to take those out? And so a lot of time, one of the fears we get a lot, Gabe, is like recruiters are nervous. Like, could this take my job? Right. Yes. I think everyone's nervous, not just recruiters.
I'm nervous. I'm nervous.
You could be AI right now, actually. So that's a little concern for everyone. But we really explain like, well, no, really, how do we supercharge you to do what you're great at and what you're like recruiting? Because a lot of the recruiters are spending so much time going through resumes, or business owners that don't have a recruiter. They're like, man, I don't have the time to go through these resumes and do all this kind of menial work that something else can do on my behalf. So it really just supercharges them as an individual hiring, where I'm like, no. Now you could spend all your time really getting to know the individual. In fact, you can invest more time like asking deeper questions and going a little deeper on the work that you didn't have before, because you're over here making cold calls to resumes and trying to schedule, trying to go back and forth with the schedule. If they don't show, you have to do some follow-up. I mean, that whole process is like, I don't think any recruiter wants to do that. And that's not really what they're paid to do. They're paid to find the right people and get the best people in those positions.
That's super cool. So you've kind of found a way, because that's always the scare. I was actually going there next, kind of the how do recruiting teams take this, but you've been able to pitch it in a way that it is like, let you do your job, which isn't just I want to say all this kind of menial work, but allow you to be a little more strategic and actually find the right candidates rather than just kind of go through the needle in the haystack type thing, and find that balance of technology in people in a way that a lot of companies sounds like they resonated with that.
100%.
That's cool.
All the recruiters I've talked to about this are really excited about it, because like, this is such like it's like such a weight on them, like going through some of this stuff.
Oh my, just thinking about it, right? I mean, to your point, whatever it is these days, when we put up a role, it's like hundreds of, I don't know, they're using AI, they're not, but it's just like, it feels heavy. It feels heavy. So I'm not even doing it.
I'll give you a quick example. We have a customer, incredible customer. They have 800 branches throughout the country, right? So there's a lot of recruiting, a lot of momentum, a lot of things to do. And now they're at the point where they literally just take all of those candidates, right? They come in their pipeline, they dump them into Digital Hire, and it's almost like magic happens, right? They just sit back, there's conversations, AI, all this stuff happening. And then on their end, they get a perfectly vetted video candidate that they can review. And they're just like, now you can tell, just interacting with them, they're like, we don't do anything else. This is all we do. Like, just
that's awesome.
And for the candidate, if they don't take the time and energy to pursue that opportunity when it comes to the video or the assessments and all that, you're already accomplishing a lot of what you're trying to determine in that employee, right? Like it's got to be a win-win. So if they're not willing to put the energy in at all, it saves everyone time, right? You're not
Fascinating,
wasting each other's
fascinating.
time.
So what is maybe just to highlight that one piece, I wanted to go to a customer score. You're like beating me to all these punches,
Sorry,
but
jumping in it.
what is some of that ROI or the benefits then you're kind of pushing out? You're like, look, with the new vamp, the re modern hiring process, it's including potentially some AI. Again, it's not like it's replacing all recruiters, but there is what are some of those things you kind of see as the twice as fast hiring process? What are some of the things you've seen there?
At least twice as fast, because what
Okay.
happens is it compounds throughout the funnel.
Yeah.
Like you have that initial outreach, massive amount of time that takes, and really a lot of unuseful time for the recruiter, leaving voicemails, cold calling,
Yeah.
texting, all that stuff is just a massive time waste. And then you have the vetting process, which is a whole nother layer of time. And then you have, after they're vetted, you have a whole nother scheduling. You have background checks, you have cross-reference background. I mean, imagine compounding that time saving throughout the whole funnel. And like we're seeing numbers that are like almost unrealistic that we don't advertise. So we really like just pull it down to like, let's save 40% of your time, I've seen like 80, 90% time savers on some of these.
Wow.
They could literally sit back and just the whole thing happens, and then they only jump in on the parts that really involve the human interaction.
That's so cool, man.
I'm a
That's
huge
so
believer
cool.
in human interaction. I mean, you have to have when you hire someone, a big part of a successful hire is how someone feels, right?
Yeah.
And I think that human to human interactions where that feeling happens,
Yep.
where that's the magic, that if it's a good fit or not. So
Oh man, that is money. That is so cool. And I love again, the finding the balance of the automation and the human, right? To a place where actually companies feel comfortable with that. I mean, I assume if they didn't have some of these types of tools, yeah, as you went through that process, it's like, how many extra people would I have to hire just to kind of go through that funnel and be able to find these right candidates? So I do like the, AIs or this process of handling, the low end stuff. And then we're still handling the human and the personal touch. What do you, so I think I get it. I think I get the general concept. Again, people on and again, I had a few people reach out to me. How do you start, Gabe? Or like, I'm thinking about AI hiring and it does feel, using your word, almost like heavy in general. Where would you guide them? How do you start thinking about this? Gotchas that you'd be like, ooh, don't do this or don't do that. Give us your free consulting here.
yeah, you bet. So the first thing we do on a consulting call is I would diagnose how the current process. So if you're just getting started hiring and you haven't really hired, they're like an entrepreneur and you're looking to do it, that's super easy. We would just walk you through like, okay, you're going to do this. We're going to get the candidates. We're going to put them in this process. It's going to be
Yep.
really easy. For a more complicated company, like a large enterprise, that's where it gets a little more, we're diagnosing into certain processes and what we can automate, right?
Mm.
So I would say start with looking at what are you doing repetitively
Yeah,
that you
cool.
don't like doing, right?
Love
And
that.
how can you identify that to where we can start to build around it. So
Yeah.
I'll give you a real example. Like we did this recently and they're like, I do not have the time to go through 45 resumes per day and pick out this, and this, right?
Oh, yes.
Um, on
Terrible.
top of the other thing. So that's where like, okay, what are you doing actually on that resume? Like, what are you looking for exactly? Right. We start
Yeah.
to identify those variables and then we start to build that process around it. So, the goal is to have it, what you would normally do replace with AI, right? That's
Cool.
kind of cool. Like, where can we replace what you normally
I
do?
love that framing. Because sometimes I get people who are like, I want it to do XYZ. And you're like, hey, do you even do that? And they're like, no, but it's like, no, that's not how it works. It's
Yeah.
usually what you're currently doing. It can do it, faster, cheaper, a little, and allow you to do this. So that's cool. Okay. Got it. I like that one.
And one other thing too is I think a lot of times when we're going through this AI recruiting is it doesn't. We always say like it will take a lot of time off of the plate, right? We all
Yeah.
know that. This is we're going to automate the time, but we always encourage like where do you reinvest that time? Because
Mm,
that's where you really see the
mm,
increase with your productivity, right?
super cool.
Because offboarding, yeah, you save time, but where are we going to put that time to really increase the like now we can spend more time on like making that candidate go through an amazing experience, right? Like we could really, really hone in on that and really get it right. Whereas before we couldn't even think about that because we just have to get someone hired, right?
Totally true. I think that's everybody just like, I got to get them through. I got to get them through. Not even thinking about, what happens at the end of this. Okay. Last question. It's super fun to kind of hear your overview on this. Obviously you're neck deep, but where does this go from here? You're closest to the action. Even when I hear you kind of talk about the hiring process, I'm like, it's amazing. I think my great grandpa probably did this. We went and knocked on someone's door and they came over, we talked to them, and then we got like, we've been doing the same hiring process for 100 years. It seems like.
Sure.
And obviously you're introducing some real cool stuff, I think, to do that. But yeah, I'm interested in, what do you see it kind of going? What's next, or how does the future look like in hiring?
I love this question. We look at hiring like the way I think it will go, and I believe this is where it will go, and I hope, because I think it just makes the most sense and what we're focused on building too. So I think it's going to be like Chat GPT, right? And this is literally what we're building in Digital Hire right now, where you can just go in, type in with prompts like what am I looking for, what am I searching for, right?
Yeah.
And then when you identify that through some prompts, it would be really nice if it just happened, right? And I kind of think of like Uber. It's like, man, wouldn't it be nice if I just go on my phone, come pick me up 10 minutes, and then a car magically shows up, takes you where you want to go, right?
Best.
It's kind of like that. It's like, how do we get to a point, type in what you want, go through the prompts, and then AI will go find the candidates, speak with the candidates, engage with the candidates, source those candidates, vet those candidates. And so you're just sitting back and boom, you're getting a full product. And then
like hiring as a service, like it's just press a few buttons and next thing I know I'm talking to vetted candidates. Wow. Okay.
We're right around the corner from that process. A lot of it's still not fully AI, like we're doing some human lift, but it's getting to that point. And I think that's how it should be in the future. And if I really want to go even further, I think there's going to be tasks. So like with Digital Hire, with our chat flow, you might want to hire somebody here, right? But you might also want to hire someone globally, right? What if someone in Pakistan can do that job?
Yep.
How much would that cost? What would that what would that look like? And then we take it to another step. And this is what we're really excited about, Gabe, is why don't you just hire a Digital Hire employee, right? Like what if you just hired someone to do this task? Could they do this task? How would you want it done? And that's where I think the future is going, where you need work or task or labor accomplished, and the AI is going to guide you to what the best route is and place it. So that's what
fun. Do you one quick clarification on that? Do you see it being a lot different for, lower end or quote unquote cheaper jobs versus, higher end or more expensive jobs? I mean, what you're typically referring to is probably more jobs that have bulk or volume. Whereas if I'm hiring the CEO at Bank of America, obviously that's a different process, right? That looks
we kind of step aside from that when it gets to executive or senior level.
I assume as much. I just wanted to clarify that. Cool. I love it, man. Super fun talk track. Great. It's so interesting how AI is doing so much, like dental, hiring, sales, right? It definitely is finding its way, hopefully good, into so many different industries. So it's fun to hear how you guys are doing it. Cool stuff. Best of luck. If someone wants to get in touch or learn a little more about digital, what's the best way to do that?
Awesome. Yeah. Thanks for having me too. I could talk about this stuff all day, Gabe. So appreciate it. So my name right on my profile, Mark Hoge at Digital Hire. Simple as that. Email me. Happy to take emails. Don't hesitate. We're super excited about the space. We're super excited about the future and hiring and how we can make an impact. So thanks for having me on.
Cool, man. Appreciate your time. And for everybody, have a fantastic day. Bye-bye.
Thanks, guys. Bye-bye.